inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now, with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're looking at the next big bad boss of Against the Ogre Horde. This is the Ogre Commander. All these bosses are huge. They are massive and redesigned with an awesome look. So this one is no surprise that he looks so rad. Now with being so big, everything on this guy is clearly sculpted, so we shouldn't have too much trouble figuring out what is what as we translate what's on the character art in the box to paint selection. So let's get to it. Alright, we're going to start things off with Garagak Sewer. We're going to do this one using our dark skin that we did a couple videos ago. This is not the kind of human flesh that we did, the more red dark tone. This is the orangey dark tone that we did. So we're going to use this one. This is kind of what I'll be using for all of my dark skinned ogres, and we're going to use it here. So we're going to put that all around on his exposed skin. He does have a lot of exposed skin, more than the champion. So just go around and find it. There's some little spots in between, like belt buckles and leather loops and stuff, like on his gauntlet. He's got a tiny little face in there. Probably want to use a smaller brush than I did, but just go around and get all of those skin spots. Then we're going to use Basilicanum Gray for all of our silver metallics. And there's no gold on this guy unless you want to put gold on there. So just go all around. This is the only metallic we'll be using, or the only metallic base kind of stuff we'll be doing. He's only got silver stuff on him. Only has that steel and iron and stuff. So get that gauntlet. He's got some buckles. He's got this little trim I decided to do. You don't have to do that on this one. I think in the artwork, the whole thing is metal, but I'm kind of going with the champion look that I did. So just go all around. I think even on the skirting, I did the trim to be like a metal wrap or metal loop. Then we're going to use our snakebite leather for all of our leather. So that's all of the straps and belts and loops. And just like I was saying, I was turning this one into, just like we done the champion, we're turning this one into leather as well. He's got all these leather wraps on these tooth things, his fangs that he wears, his trophies. That's all held on by some leather as well. Now we're going to use Skeleton Horde for all the bone. Get all that in there. He's got a lot of bones and trophies and stuff. As I was saying, he's got these fangs, these big horns maybe, lots of bone bits all around. He's got a helmet and a pauldron all made out of bone. So just get that up with your Skeleton Horde, get it all sepia'd up, and get it looking bony. We're using Agrax Earthshade here for his loincloth. And this is also going to be used, not just this drapey down part, but it's also going to be used on all of the fur and these little tacet parts, his skirting, I guess is what you'd call that. We're using that for all that stuff, all the fur and his little loincloth area part. We're using Blood Angel's red, or any kind of red you got. Remember, you don't have to use the same paints that I have. If you got armory paint or speed paint, if you got inks, if you got 3-layer buildup, use whatever you got. We're using red for these bandings that he's got on his weapon, on his helmet. He's got some ropes and strings that we're going to do in this red as well. And that's going to add a little pop of color and break up this guy from being all brown. Alright, you know what time it is. It's time to do our metallics. Now this is super simple because we've only got one to work with, so we're just going to use gunmetal and put on those metallic bases. You don't have to get the whole surface covered, remember, because we are going to put our gloss on top. So just get what you want. The zenithal underneath is going to help with shadowing, as well as any washes we do as well. So don't feel like you need to hit all of it if those nooks and crooks and crannies are too far up in there. As long as you've got some kind of paint in there, it should all equal out in the end. So just hit all those spots, get them all primed up with your metallic. Then we're going to go, just like I said, with our Nuln Oil gloss. This paint does not exist, so use Nuln Oil and gloss over it, or do your own mix of any kind of shade or dark tone that you want to do. If you use a brown one, it will look more dirty. I use black to make it look oily. We're using Wraithbone on the skull and bone parts. So we're just going to go around and start highlighting up all those bones he's got going on. Give him a couple coats. I think I did like 2 coats just to build up some more of that brightness and make those bones stand out. While Wraithbone is quite opaque, it doesn't hurt to do a second coat or a third coat to really build up that punchy brightness. So that's what I do. All around all these bone parts, we're going and building up that bone. Mornfang Brown, this is our skin. Remember, this is going to smooth out any kind of splotching and blotches and streaking and just kind of ugly stuff going on, as well as tie this skin together and make it very nice. So we're going to go around. He's got very big, bulgy muscles. It should be pretty easy to spot where you're going to put this Mornfang. We've done muscles before. These are just much bigger. And then, of course, his face. He's only got half of his face out. Some big bulbous features. Shouldn't be too hard. Just get in there with your small brush and poke some dots on there. Scrag Brown. This is our next layer up. This is going to be our first highlight. And this is going to be where we really start to see the skin take shape. It's going to start really looking like it's got some volume to it, some brightness to it. You're just going to go around and hit all those muscles. I ended up doing 2 coats in places, like the broad muscle areas, like the pecs and the back, just to really smooth out those transitions. You can see here, I'm taking my time with that face, really building up the highlight. Speaking of highlights, we have our final highlight for our skin. We're using Deathclaw Brown, and that's going to punch up the final highlights and really make those topmost surfaces shine and stand out. All the pointy bits like chins and toes and heels and big bulbous up-facing muscles. We're really going to see how round and voluminous this guy is. So just go around, just like with the last paint, I did 2 coats in some areas just to really smooth out the transition. You can see here, just taking our time, dot it in, it really makes those muscles and features pop. All right, then we're using chrome here. This is going to be our metallic highlight. Just going around like we usually do, popping in those spots you want to be brighter. Usually it's going to be the most topmost, but you have artistic liberty. You can just do, all the edge highlighting, or you can do, scraggly designs for damage and be rough with it. I don't always follow the rule of light. Sometimes I just follow the rule of cool. And what I think looks kind of cool. You can see here on the blade right there. That's not really perfect, but we add some scratches and hey, looks kind of cool. Bold titanium white, we're going to use this to punch up all the fur and make all the fur stand out and not be just a muddy mess. So going all the way around and hitting up those furry spots and giving them big highlights. Avoid those shadows and it'll give it a punchy kind of patchy pattern look, that some wolf pelts have, where you have patches of different colors and stuff working on in there. And so you don't have to be perfect. And we're also going to use that white to bolster up some of the features on the bones, especially his helmet there, as well as the skull on his shoulder. We're going to go in there and do that. We're also going to use Black Templar to black out the hollows of those skulls and give them more depth, make them look like they're actually hollow. And then we're going to finish up our basing like normal with a gray paint, a texture paint, a dry brush, a shade, and a dry brush. And there you have it. We have an Ogre Commander all painted up. Now, you might have thought by the artwork or even by our paint selection that it would be a lot of brown, and even I was worried about that too. But by really focusing on the contrast of the bone, the little bits of red color and what have you, it really stands out against itself. And even choosing the skin tone, right, of this orangey brown, it's going to stand out against the snake bite, even though that also is a little bit of a yellowy brown. You could always do a dry brush on that if you wanted as well to make those leather straps stand out differently. But I think this guy's looking pretty slick, pretty rad, quite surprised. Because like I said, I worried he was going to be a little too homogeneous, but hey, but as you can see, he did not turn into a blob. He turned into a hero-smashing fiend. So with that, we are finished the Ogre Commander, and we only have one more big old bad Ogre to do, the Ogre Lord. We'll see that in the next video. If you enjoyed what you saw, give it a good old like, give a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Let me know in the comments down below what you're working on, how far you are in the Ogre Horde. A quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank everybody who watches. Your support of just viewing and hanging out and chatting is just as good. But yeah, definitely thanks to everybody who is supporting in their own way. Check out my Twitch for gaming content, and I'll see you later. Bye!